Hello, I'm Rick Wimberly of Ghislaine Solutions. The webcast is local media as first informers, effectively using wireless emergency alerts. Our target audience is broadcasters, brought to you by broadcasters, FEMA, and our company, Ghislaine. Here's what we plan to accomplish. We're going to show you how the new Wireless Emergency Alert System, or WEA, can support broadcasters' missions as first informers. People all over the country are talking about WEA. We're going to help you understand this far-reaching alert system. Not long ago, I was awakened in the middle of the night by loud tones from my cell phone. Tornadoes were in the area. My wife Kathy and I got up, turned on the TV, and watched the local stations track the storms with impressive precision. As I went about my business around town the next few days, it seems like everyone was talking about the cell phone alerts in the middle of the night, asking questions, wondering, among other things, who sent the alerts. I knew the answers because of my involvement with FEMA and the Wireless Emergency Alerts Program. It occurred to me that maybe I could help broadcasters understand WEA so they could help their audiences understand WEA, resulting in a safer community. Plus, as a former broadcaster, I saw potential for broadcasters to make strong connections to their audiences through WEA. First, a bit of background. WEA is part of FEMA's Integrated Public Alert and Warning System, or IPAWS, a program created by presidential order after September 11th. The basic IPAWS charge is to make alerts more effective for the nation. WEA is but one of the IPAWS programs. By the way, WEA was originally the Commercial Mobile Alert System, or CMAS, but the name was changed. Many of you know IPAWS through the Emergency Alert System, which is, as you know, has been digitized and strengthened by adding more primary entry point, or PEP stations. Plus, the first ever national EAS test was conducted. The main concept behind IPAWS is to create a system of systems through which authorities can send a single alert to be distributed to a variety of alerting systems. Ultimately, the public ends up with more ways to receive alerts. WEA allows public officials to get the public's attention when threatening situations occur. The messages include unique attention-getting tones, similar to but not the same as EAS tones. They have a unique vibration and a pop-up on the screen. Local officials can target a specific geographic area with WEA, and the public does not have to sign up for the WEAs. They get them automatically, subject to some limits, which I'll mention in a moment. Now, WEA is a cell system, not a broadcast system, and I suspect you find it interesting. But the real question today is, what does WEA mean to you and other broadcasters? I'm going to play you a 30-second radio spot produced by the NAB. Many of you have heard it or seen the TV version. Basically, it hits home an important point I'd like for you to remember as we talk about the cell alert system.
They say the best things in life are free, because we, your local radio broadcasters, have always entertained and informed at no cost to the community. When tragedy strikes, radio is there, even when others are not. We bring you talk, news, and music, all aimed to engage, inform, and motivate, with one goal: serving the public. The local broadcasters of radio, reaching more people, touching more lives. Brought to you by the National Association of Broadcasters and this station.
Now here's the point. Yes, this wireless emergency alert system is valuable. And yes, I think you should talk about it. But it's not designed to replace broadcast and EAS. In fact, it could not replace broadcast and EAS. It's designed to work with broadcast and other alerting systems. So here's what it really means to you. There are four main points. Number one, it provides a strong public service. Already, we're hearing success stories about how WEA has gotten people's attention and saved lives. It's a mystery you can solve. When people receive these alerts, they are wondering and asking, where are the alerts coming from? They're wondering lots of other things too, some of which we'll address in a moment. Now, we know you want to stay connected to your audience. We know you want to be in the middle of what locals are talking about. We know you want to be a source of info, a source of trust. This is a good way to do it. Help your audience understand what these strange alerts are all about. Doing so will strengthen your ever-important relationships with your audiences. And here's the fourth. Truth is, these WIA messages are actually sending audiences to you. Most of the WIAs say, check local media, and I suspect you'll want to be the local media they're checking. Now, the public is going to be asking questions about WIA. We're already seeing it, and we're just getting started. Here's what they're asking. Who's sending these alerts? Answer, local, state, and federal public safety officials, the Weather Service, and the Amber Alert people. What am I supposed to do about them? Answer, first and foremost, take them seriously. Their use is restricted to very serious events. Secondly, they need to do what the alert says to do. Most of the time, the alert will say check local media, so they should tune to local TV and radio. Will I be charged? Answer, no. There is no charge for receiving the alerts, and by regulation, the cell carriers cannot charge. Will my phone calls be interrupted? Answer, no. WIAs will not interrupt a phone call, but once the call is finished, the alert will pop up on the main screen. If I'm visiting an area, will I receive the alerts? Answer, yes. In effect, the cell carriers are sending signals from their towers to be received by mobile devices equipped to receive WIAs, and most have been. So, if you're within range of the affected cell tower and have a WIA-capable phone, you will receive the alert. If you're not in the affected area, you will not get it. What if I don't want the alerts? Answer, you can change the settings on your phone to opt out of WIA messages related to imminent threats, such as weather warnings and Amber Alerts, but you cannot opt out of a presidential emergency message. Presidential messaging works basically the same way it does for EAS. The president has had capability to interrupt broadcasts for an EAS message since the 50s, but no president has ever done it. Is the government tracking me? Answer, well, if they are, they're not doing it through this system. In fact, the government has no way of knowing exactly who receives the alerts. Remember, WIAs are signals sent from a tower, and no more can you know exactly who's receiving your signal. Can anyone know exactly who receives the WIA signal? Now, certainly there are other questions, but those are the ones we're hearing the most. Now, WIA has been in use for about a year. By far, the biggest user has been the Weather Service. In the 10 months ending April, the Weather Service had issued WIAs over 4,000 times for severe weather warnings. WIAs are not used for watches and not used for thunderstorm warnings. WIA was used after the Boston Marathon bombing. The Boston Alert is a good example of what WIA can be used for by state and local authorities. And I really like what Massachusetts Emergency Management did at the same time they issued the alert. They issued a media advisory. It helped the local media understand that a WIA was being issued and why. Now, if you don't have relationships with local public safety, you should establish them to make sure you get this type of info. You can expect spikes in social media activity when WIAs are issued. It's not hard to figure out when Amber Alerts were issued by looking at this chart. Social media gets very active when people receive these alerts. It also gets active when the media talks about WIA. One of the biggest spikes on the term wireless emergency alerts came when WSB Radio in Atlanta aired a blurb about WIA after an Amber Alert was issued in the area, then posted it on their website. We saw a noticeable spike in social media activity caused by the WSB posting. Here's an example of what people are saying. Most people are wondering out loud through their social media where the alerts are coming from. Some people are complimentary, others are critical, although I must say I didn't include many of the critical ones in this presentation, not because they were critical, but because of the language used, and I know how broadcasters don't like foul language. Now, while WIA is a good system, there are limitations you should know about. Number one, there are only 3 reasons WIA can be used. The president can use it, like the president can use EAS in an emergency, not for politics. It can be used for imminent threats, such as weather warnings in the Boston Alert. And WIA can be used for Amber Alerts from the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. There are no other reasons for using WIA. The Weather Service now only uses WIA for warnings and certain types of warnings. Note no thunderstorm warning. You can see the list here. By the way, local forecasters are very well informed on WIA. Don't hesitate to ask them questions about it and how the Weather Service is using it. The second limitation relates to the message itself. It can be no more than 90 characters and may not contain a URL. The purpose of the limit is to avoid network congestion. Although sending the messages themselves from the towers wouldn't cause congestion, network overload could occur if thousands and thousands of people go to a single URL at once. Not all mobile devices are equipped to receive WIAs. Most of the new ones are. The best way to find out if a device is WIA capable is to ask the cell vendor or check the vendor's websites. You can also check our website at galainsolutions.com. That's GALAIN solutions.com. We keep an updated list there. So let's review a bit. What are the best ways for you to connect with your audiences by talking about WIA? First, remember, the public is going to be coming to you when these WIAs are issued. Most WIA messages will include an advisory that says, check local media. That's you. You may want to be ready for it. Next, you're going to have to stay alert yourself. That's not a stretch for most broadcasters. They generally keep a good eye on what's going on, particularly when it's serious. Second tip, cultivate your sources of information, whether it be your weather contacts, public safety, or online sources you trust. Good relationships are critical when bad stuff happens. Third, talk about it on the air. Your audiences are going to be talking about it. You should be too. They will expect it and appreciate it when you do. And the final tip, keep talking about it. Impact the community. As first informers, keep them informed. Save lives. Now let me close with these points. WIA is going to become a part of our lives. It's new now and lots of people are asking questions, but the public is going to become accustomed to WIA. Next, WIAs are designed only to get people's attention. Think of it like a phone siren. Loud tones, unique vibrations, screen pop-ups. But WIA does not inform the way you, the first informers, do. And finally, you are critical to the success of this initiative. This program will not work well without broadcasters. Now, here are some of the resources you can access to get more information about WIA. The FEMA IPAWS office and their website have lots of good information. You can send them an email to info@ipaws.gov if you like. The National Weather Service has good info, and you can check our website. On behalf of the organizations that brought you this webcast, we thank you for your attention, and let us know if you have any suggestions that might help. Have a good day.